Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tessie and today we are going to be recreating this style. A client requested for it and I decided to film the process. If you're new to the channel, you're welcome. If you're yet to subscribe, kindly do that and let's get right into the video. So guys, I'm going to be using this fabric. It's called a crepe and I have 2 yards. The crepe is not that thick, but a thicker one would be better. So I folded my fabric into two, as you can see, and I'm going to be chalking the starting point, which will serve as the shoulder line. So guys, you need to note that there are different methods to cut out this particular style. You can do the half length by joining the half length and the down part together, or using a straight princess dart bustier, or just making it straight gown. So for me, I'm just going to be making it straight. I'm not going to be adding bustier or anything to it. It's just going to be a very simple and straight tutorial. So on the shoulder line, I'll take my shoulder measurement divided by 2. So my shoulder divided by 2, I chalked it down. Then I came down to the chest line, connected it into a straight line as you can see. So the next measurement is from the shoulder to the waist. So from the shoulder to the waist is 17.5 inches. So I chalked 17.5 inches at that point and then connected it into a straight line as well. So what I'll be doing next is chalking my hip line. So at the waist, I'll come down to my hip line, which is 9 inches. After chalking 9 inches, I connected it into a straight line. So the next measurement is the gown length. So the gown length is 35 inches. I added 1 inch for stitching allowance, which is total of 16 inches. So what I'll be doing next is at the neckline, I'm going to be placing my neck measurement. So for this, I'm going to be making use of 3.5 by 2.75. Then I connected the neckline using my curve ruler. Then at the shoulder area, I came down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope and connected it to the shoulder line. Then I'm going to be checking what I have on the chest line area, divided by 2. And at that point, I'll come in by ½ inch. And at the chest line, I'll place my bust measurement divided by 4. What I'll do next is to curve in my armhole. After covering the armhole, I'm going to place my bust measurement divided by 4, which I have there, as you can see. Then I'll be adding extra 2 inches for my stitching allowance. At the waistline, I'm going to be placing my waist measurement divided by 4. Then I'll chalk it down. And I'll also add 2 inches for my stitching allowance. So what I'll do next is to connect from the bust to the waistline. So what I'll be doing next is at the hip line, I'll be placing my hip measurement divided by 4. So the hip divided by 4 is 11 inches. Now, the trick about this particular gown is you're not to use your exact hip measurement. You're adding some inches to your hip just to make that area big and pronounced. So I'm going to be adding some inches to it, like 3 inches thereabout. I added 3 inches to my hip measurement and I also added 2 inches for my stitching allowance. So what I'll do next is to connect from the waist to the hip line. So guys, this is how you achieve this particular style. Make sure not to use your hip measurements. Add some inches to your hip measurements. So what I'm doing next is to blend from the waist to the hip. Just go ahead and blend those sharp edges. After blending the sharp edges, what I'll be doing next is from the hip, I'll connect it straight down. So I'll just use my ruler to connect from the hip straight down. And you know this is like an A-line gown. So at the down part of the dress, you're going to be adding some inches to it. So I'll be adding extra 3 inches at the down part. You could add 2 inches, 1.5, 3 inches, 4 inches. It depends on how full you want that area to be. So I added 3 inches and then I'm going to be connecting from the hip to that 3 inches line. So I'll go ahead now to connect from my hip to the 3 inches line. So guys, as you can see, we have our A-line gown ready. So I'm just taking my time to blend from the hip straight down. So at that down part, I don't want it too sharp. So I'll come up by some inches. So I'm going to be coming up by 1.5 inches. So I came up by 1.5 inches and then I'm just going to blend it in. So I'll use my curve ruler to do that. So guys, after blending it in, I'll go ahead now to cut out my front bodice. So guys, after cutting out the front, this is what it looks like, as you can see. So what I'll be doing next is cutting out the back. So for the back, I folded my fabric into two. I'm just going to place the front on the back. So the only difference between the front and the back is we are adding zip to the back. So I place the front on the back, and then I'm just going to be chalking a line straight down from this point. So I use my ruler to chalk out the line, as you can see. And for the back neckline, I'll be making use of 1.5 inches. Then I connected the neckline, as you can see. After doing that, what I'll be doing is at the waistline, I'm just going to chalk it straight down. Just connect the line straight down this way. Then I'll be chalking my zip allowance. So I'm going to be making use of 2 inches. So I'll go ahead now to chalk 2 inches all the way down. Then connect it into a straight line. So guys, after connecting my line, what we'll be doing next is eliminating the zipper bulge at the back. So at the waistline, I'll come in by 1 inch. Then from that point, I'm just going to slant it all the way up using my ruler. So I'm just going to slant all the way up from that 1 inches line. Then slant all the way down as well. So guys, what I'll be doing next is cutting out the back. So guys, if you are yet to subscribe to my channel, please do that. And if you're yet to like this video, kindly do that, and let's get right back. So after cutting out the back, I'm just going to notch the zip allowance line. So guys, after notching the zip allowance, what I'll be doing next is cutting out lining for each of the pieces. So now on the front, we have like a first pocket on the front. So for the first pocket, I have my fabric. I folded it into two, as you can see. So what I'll be using for the first pocket is, the length is 4 inches. I use 4 inches here, but later reduced it to 3 inches, and the wideness is 7.5 inches. So I have 4 inches and 7.5 inches wide. So I'll go ahead now to connect it and cut out the first pocket. Then I'll place it and cut out for the second one. So guys, I'm going to be adding paper stitch to the first pocket just to make it firm. After doing that, I'm going to be stitching the edges with 1/2 inch, then I'll flip it to the right side. After doing that, this is what it looks like. So I'm just going to be attaching it on the front bodies. So you can see I ironed and I have the middle line there. So now you chalk where you want the pocket to start from. So for me, I want it to start from 20 inches thereabouts. Sorry, 22 inches, yes. So my pocket is starting from 22 inches, and I'm going to be chalking the same 22 inches on this part as well. So now you have to determine the distance. That's how distant you want the pocket to be. So at the middle point, I'll come in by 2 inches. So from the middle, it's just going to be starting from 2 inches. And on this other side, I'll chalk 2 inches as well. So that is where I will place in my pocket. So my pocket will start from that 2 inches point, just like this. So I'll place the other one there. So just make sure they are on the same line. So what I'll do is just use my ruler to chalk that point. I'll do the same thing here. Then I'll place it, I'll flip it to the right side this way and stitch and then flip it back. So I'll do the same thing for the other one as well. I'm going to place it this way and stitch and then flip it and iron. So guys, after doing that, this is what it looks like, as you can see. So I'll give it a very good press. As quickly, I went ahead to cut out my lining piece, and I also added paper stay on the lining since the crepe is not thick enough. So I added paper stay just to make the dress a bit firm. So what I'll be doing is placing them together and stitching the shoulder by 1/2 inch, and I'll also stitch the down part by 1/2 inch all the way down. Then I'll flip it to the right side. So you also do the same thing for the back as well. I added stay on the lining for the back. So I'll place the lining and the main fabric together this way. So I'm just going to place them right side facing each other. So after placing them, you can go ahead to pin them down and then stitch the neckline, the zip allowance, the side and the down part. You do the same thing for the other side as well. So guys, after stitching, what I did next was to close my zip allowance for now. I just closed the zip allowance and then placed the front and the back together. Then I'll be stitching the shoulder area using 1/2 inch. So guys, what I'll be doing next is shaping my dress. So I'll go ahead now to shape my dress. When you get to the hip line, you're not using your exact hip measurement like I said initially when drafting. So guys, the hip has to be a bit bigger than your usual hip. So when drafting, we added some inches. So go ahead, shape that area. So guys, this is what it looks like. Then for the sleeve, I folded my fabric into two. So it's like a cap sleeve. So from the starting point, I curved my armhole. So go ahead, curve your armhole and check if you're on the right track, which I was. Then you check the length of your sleeve. So how long you want it depend on your preference. For me, I'm just going to be making use of 6.5. And after checking the length of my sleeve, that's 6.5, what I'll do is at this side of the armhole, you come in by 1.5 inches. So I came in by 1.5 inches. So what I'll do is from this point, I'll slant it all the way down to that 6.5. Then I'm going to be taking my round sleeve measurement at this point. So the round sleeve measurement divided by 2, I chalked it down. And from that point, I'll slant it all the way down to this armhole point. So guys, this is what it looks like. As you can see, I'll go ahead now to cut out my sleeve. Then I'll place this and cut out the second sleeve and notch the middle part of the sleeve. So guys, this is what the sleeve looks like. I'll go ahead now to cut out my lining. So after cutting out the lining, I place them and I'll be stitching the down parts. I'll go ahead now to stitch the down part using 1/2 inch and flip it to the right side. So guys, after doing that, this is what it looks like. As you can see, I'll go ahead now to attach my sleeve to the dress. After attaching my sleeve to the dress, I'll open up the back area and add my zip to it. I'm using an invisible zip for this. I'll add the invisible zip and then shows the end result. So guys, this is the end result. As you can see, I didn't make this dress for myself. I made it for someone. That's why it's a bit big around the waist area for me. But I just wait for you guys to see the fit. So guys, I hope this tutorial was helpful. Please do not forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, drop a comment and turn on your notification bell to get notified whenever I drop new tutorials. Bye. Love you guys.